Hello and welcome to the Purser's Diary Part 3. My name is Martin, and in this series I'm going to talk about a diary, or rather two diaries, that were kept by my grandmother's grandparents as they sailed around the world in the 1860s on a ship called the Ida Zeigler. Their names were Charles Alfred Green, or Alfred, and his wife Eliza Green, and this is their story. At the end of Part 2, Alfred was supporting the cook in his promotion of temperance on board, and the Ida Zeigler was heading south through the Atlantic towards the equator.
August 16th, 1866. Yesterday the dead horse was up, but owing to the heavy rain, the men did not bury him until this evening, to the great delight and amusement of all the passengers. After that was all over, they finished up with singing.
The burying of the dead horse mystified me. Eliza records a similar event at the same stage during the Ida's voyage in 1867. I've actually found an explanation in Charles Alexander Mitchie's reminiscences. Mitchie writes the following.
It was then customary for the captain of the ship to advance 1 month's pay to his crew before sailing. This was usually spent quickly during the brief remaining period ashore. Early in the voyage, the passengers noticed that the sailors used to pick up every odd piece of rag and paper they came across and stow it away. They were mystified at this until they discovered that these fragments were used to stuff a figure of a horse, along with oakum and canvas smeared with tar to make it flammable. On the evening of the day which completed the first month out, the crew would celebrate the fact they were no longer in debt to the captain by hoisting the dead horse to the lower yard arm. At a given signal, when the lurch of the ship brought the figure to a suitable position, they would fire a number of pistol shots into it. This ignited the inflammable material, and the rope was cut, and the blazing horse drifted away, keenly watched by the crew until it finally burnt out and disappeared.
So, this fabulous ritual celebrated the clearing of the crew's debts and had nothing to do with transporting live animals or celebrating their burial. The delight and amusement it caused was not about cruel Victorians revelling in the death of a real horse, but about something entirely different. This little event illustrates the importance of historical context. Alfred and Eliza would have known what the shooting of the dead horse meant, that they did not think it necessary to add an explanation to their diaries. I can well imagine their children asking about it around the dinner table. However, over time and subsequent generations, this knowledge was lost to the family. I certainly had no idea what was going on until I found an explanation in Mitchie's parallel account. The ship's progress towards the equator is stalled by winds blowing dead against. The ship steers west rather than south and hopes for a change. When she finally crosses the line, the occasion is marked by hijinks on board, especially for those who have not crossed the line before. Alfred writes.
August 23rd, 1866. Neptune and his followers came on board this evening, and tomorrow is going to be his grand shaving day. He has taken his leave in the shape of a tar barrel, which is to be seen blazing away astern. August 24th, 1866. Shaving went off all right. Plenty of fun. Everybody got a wet jacket and a beautiful day for it. I got pretty wet myself. August 25th, 1866. Southeast trades still continue to blow pretty fresh, and only trust they may continue. I'm so anxious to get out to get some news. Last night we were only complimenting ourselves to think how nice everything had gone off, but at 3 a.m. one of the men was drunk and got quarrelling with his own master and wanted to throw him overboard. So he was put in irons till this morning. Sunday, August 26, 1866. Good stiff breeze still blowing from the southeast. Trust it may continue. Very squally during the day. Spoke to a brig this afternoon from Belfast to Bahia, 6 to 7 day run. It helps to cheer one up a bit. The black cook gave us a very nice address this evening from the 7th chapter of Matthew.
This is the second time the black cook appears, giving an address to the ship's company at Sunday church. I couldn't find any further information on this intriguing person despite looking high and low. Whoever he was, Alfred appears to admire him. and support his efforts to Christianise the people on board. The following day's entries record the trade winds, the ships the Ida passed or spoke to, and activities on board, including the cook's plans to give a grand tea and the sailors giving a grand performance on singing. On the 3rd of September, the stiff breeze freshened up to a gale. The Ida had to shorten, that is, to reduce the area of the sails, in heavy sea running, which means the wind's blowing directly from behind.
September 4th, 1866. Very rough all last night. Ship rolling very heavily, almost keel up. This morning, wind all gone, but a nasty swell on. Very squally during the day. Now we have a good stiff breeze, and it looks very wild and dark all round. I hope all our calms are gone for at least some time.
Alfred dreads the calms more than the storms. The storms, at least, blow him on his way. On the 5th of September, Alfred records that a shower of rain brought an abrupt end to the cook's grand tea. The following Sunday, the wet weather forced the church service inside, into the cabin. On the 15th of September, the Ida rounds the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa. This cape is so named because of the hope it offered sailors of getting out of the Atlantic and into the Indian Ocean, where they could head north towards India and the Far East in a warmer climate. The Ida was now doing about 340 nautical miles per day, at an average of about 14 knots, or 26 kilometres per hour. Alfred notes that the Ida passed the Crozet Islands on the 22nd of September, but did not sight them. It snowed all day on the 24th of September as they sailed through the roaring 40s, at a latitude of 45 degrees south.
September 28th, 1866. Very high sea following, and ship rolling very heavily, but not so much wind. 8 of the crew laid up, and a cabin passenger very bad. Is expected to breathe his last. Every hour says he is quite prepared and wishes to die.
On the 30th of September, Alfred writes that the ship is skipping through the Arctic ice. Properly, it should be the Antarctic ice, but it would be just as hazardous. The approaching death of one of the passengers introduces a sombre tone to the account.
October 1st, 1866. Blowing very hard, the gale keeps increasing. The deck is all afloat, has shipped a great quantity of water. Washed 2 hen coops overboard off the poop this afternoon. Won't be much sleep tonight for anybody. The cabin passenger died this eve, 4 minutes to 7. Went off very quietly.
The poop deck is the rearmost raised part of the deck. The loss of 2 hen coops from the poop shows just how rough the gale had become. Alfred's involvement with the death of the passenger is moving. He must have been intimately involved to know the exact time and manner of the passenger's final moments. Characteristically, Alfred does not record the passenger's name. Indeed, he doesn't record the names of any of the passengers, nor the cook, and he never mentions the captain, Abraham Lewis Reynolds. We might regard this as something of an oversight. However, it tells us something of Victorian manners. Alfred and Eliza likely thought it rude or intrusive to mention the names of passengers, crew, or officers who are not of the same station as them. Alfred and Eliza lived in a world more divided into class and hierarchy than we can imagine. Certainly, this social structure was used to keep people in their place. However, I also imagine a respect for one another's place to the point where speaking about it would be considered intrusive, rude, or what we might call a breach of privacy. In our modern age, when the internet can reach far deeper into private lives than is healthy, I confess a little envy towards the Victorians, with their seemingly impenetrable walls of social division, because of the privacy they enjoyed. We have a name for this poor passenger and a cause of death. The Daily Southern Cross later reports, on the 1st of October, a saloon passenger named A.J. Stoddard died of consumption. He was buried at sea the following day. That's all for this episode. Please like and subscribe. May God be with you in whatever journey you find yourself on, and I hope to see you next time.